Joining us right now, a guy that is there day in and day out following MLS TFC, does a great job at goal.com, Rudi Schuller. Rudi, welcome, my friend.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Pleasure's all mine. Rudi, you asked the first question right after that game, that win, that massive game by Giovinco, the head coach Greg Vanney, about conceding that late goal. And I'm glad you asked that because you know what? I think that was important to ask. It overshadowed, to me anyway, the great performance of Giovinco and some of the other players like Osario, but that leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Talk a little bit more about that, Rudi.
Well, I was being a little tongue-in-cheek because I guess everyone expected that. You know, we've been asking about Giovinco week in, week out. There's only so many ways you can ask how great Giovinco is. So I figured I'd get the negative part out of the way first. And, you know, it got a laugh from everybody in the room, but he answered it quite sincerely, and he echoed your sentiments that it did sour the victory a little bit because they were keeping a clean sheet, which is always what teams want to do, and regardless of how many goals they score, they always want to keep a clean sheet. And it was a bit of a cheap goal to give up. You know, they kind of let go of their concentration a little bit, and all of a sudden the ball was in the back of the net, and it kind of goes to show that you can't let up for any amount of time. It doesn't matter against which team you're playing against, because teams are going to want to get some pride back, and we saw that happen with Teal Bunbury putting that ball in the back of the net.
Absolutely, and I think that's where Josh Williams dropped the ball. I mean, we can't put all the blame on him, but most of the blame should go his way. And I've never been sold on this guy as a starter, maybe as a guy coming off the bench to help out, but as a starter, I'm sorry, Rudi, I don't know where you stand. I can't give this guy my trust playing in front of a young goalkeeper, let alone a veteran.
Well, I mean, he's not, he's not a starter on this team, and I think that's where Greg Vanney stands. Most importantly, is that he is a guy who's going to come in and replace some minutes. Especially in a heavy week that TFC just had last week. They played 3 games in 6 days. He can be a spot starter and a guy who comes in off the bench and relieves. I guess in this case it would have been Eric Zavaleta, who's pretty much earned the starter spot now that Damien Perkis is gone. And I think that's the way it's going to go forward for this team. Is you're going to have Drew Moore and Eric Zavaleta as the main duo back there. And you know what? They've done a great job, the two of them. And I have my concerns about Williams as well, but I do have confidence in him that he can come in and play some good minutes to relieve some guys and give some guys some rest off the bench. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he'd be a full-time starter in this league, but he's enough of a veteran and a good enough player that I think he can be entrusted for the spot start, so to speak.
So let me ask you this, Rudi. You've been to each and every game. Maybe you've missed one. I've missed a couple, but we kept on hearing it since the first game of the season. I didn't understand it. Maybe I still don't understand it, but the disrespect, the respect that he's not getting, head coach Greg Vanney, when will he get that respect? Is it when they get to a final, or will people say, well, they got there because of Giovinco? And look, I know what Giovinco can do. He's done unbelievable things since he's arrived. But I also think head coach Greg Vanney has adjusted from some of his own personal coaching mistakes last year to this year. Should this guy be getting more of the respect in this run that this team is having right now?
100%. 100% he should be getting more respect. Look, I'm not going to go out and say that he's the next Bruce Arena in MLS because, he's got a long way to prove himself. But as you mentioned, he's grown a lot as a coach. He came in, he was a rookie, and TFC was prepared to deal with his growing pains, and we saw that on the field the first, year and a half that he's been coaching. But this year, I don't think he's done much wrong. And yes, Giovinco is a superstar in this league, but Giovinco is not the reason why TFC has the best defense in the East. Giovinco is not the reason why there's some good tactical changes being made. Like I'll just give you an example. The last game, Greg Vanney threw in Nick Hagglund to deal with Kai Kamara because Nick Hagglund's he's a beast in the air. He's an athletic specimen. He's not he's not the best with the ball at his feet, but he knows how to handle big athletic strikers like Kai Kamara. And what happens? Kai Kamara is shut out. Those are the little types of things that I think that Greg Vanney just does not get the credit for.
And not only that, Rudi, but the credit he doesn't get, where I don't understand, is he's given the young Canadian kids an opportunity to start, to earn minutes and to play important minutes. Hamilton, Babuli, Chapman, on and on. He's trusted these guys, Delgado. And I said this to Tim Bazbachenko on my show a week ago. I said, these young guys should go through a brick wall and more, leave blood, sweat, and tears out there for this coach because he's believed in them. And he's taken a lot of shots for playing these young guys.
Absolutely, I agree with you. That was actually the next point I was going to make, is that he's taken a lot of young guys that don't have a lot of experience, and you don't tend to put a lot of young guys in the field at once together and still earn wins. And that's what he's done, out of necessity, of course. There's been a lot of injuries, but how many other coaches can miss out on having Josie Altidore, Michael Bradley, Will Johnson, Clint Irwin, Benoit Giroux, all these guys out at the same time and still get TFC in the position where they are now? Now, of course, Sebastian Giovinco heated back up, and some of these players are coming back. But for the most part, the midfield has been a very, very young midfield, where Jonathan Osorio was the oldest guy. I mean, you think about it, he's 24 years old. He was the oldest guy on the field, in the midfield at least, for a midfield that was dominating other teams for a while. So, yeah, I think he's one of the biggest things that Greg Vanney has done is he's gotten a lot of the young players. That speaks to his background, of course. He was a youth coach before he became the head coach. And, yeah, we're going to continue to see him grow and the team grow, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
In a minute or less, Rudy, we really appreciate you joining us. I want to talk about another topic that was brought up on the weekend, but I've been talking about this for the last number of years, but I'm glad finally, and I didn't bring it up, so I'm glad finally it's coming to the forefront. I just had Ives Galarcep on. You know Ives, I know Ives. He's known all over North America in the game we love. And look, Rudy, you and I enjoy the Blue Jays. We enjoy the Raptors. I enjoy the Leafs. I don't know if you enjoy the Leafs. And the coverage they get is unbelievable, even in the offseason of each and every club. Let's throw in the Argos there, the poor Argos. Let's give them a little bit of time. I don't know why we should. But anyway, here's my point, and I want to get your take on it before we let you go. I don't understand this, why this mainstream media, all media in Toronto right now is not talking about TFC. 1 point away from first place. Giovinco with a hat trick is going to win MVP again if he's on this tear. This team right now is earning respect all over MLS. On and on and on. And we're talking last week, all week, Rudy, about Sanchez. Should he go in the bullpen or should he not? And we're not talking about TFC on this great run. Help me, Rudy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Look, the Blue Jays deserve all the press they're getting. They've done a great job there. They captured the heart of Toronto again. But there's room for TFC. There's room for TFC to get some column inches and some time on Sports Talk Radio and on TV shows, and it's just not happening. You mentioned the Argos there, and I have to admit, not admit, but if the Argos were selling out or getting 27,000 per game in their 10th year after having a horrible first 7 or 8 years, that would be the talk of the town. But it's just not. I think it's a slowly dying attitude. But I think as the generation shifts and the population kind of grows older and the new guys come in, the way the population's growing, I think you're gonna see a shift and we're seeing it in the stadium, and I think it's slow, but it's going to happen in the media as well.
I hope so. And guys like you, Rudy, and not because you're on the line, I've always told you keep up the good work. Ives, other guys in the press box. Look, I have disagreements with some of the guys and gals up there, but I respect that they're covering the game I love. Whether I agree with all the stuff they say about me or others, I don't care. They're covering the game in the city I love, in the sport I love, and I will give them credit for doing that today, tomorrow, and every day of the week, and I think you will as well.
Absolutely. Look, it's really boring if we all agree, right?
Absolutely. I like chocolate ice cream. You might like vanilla.
Exactly. Hey, I like both, but hey.
There you go. Rudy, listen, we really appreciate you making time. Keep up the great work at goal.com. As we let you go, where can people follow you on Twitter, and what's up right now that they can read?
On Twitter, of course, it's just my name, RUDISCHULLER. I'm quite outspoken on there. We're just covering the stretch run of MLS right now, and the Olympics as well. The Canadian women's national team, of course, pay attention to them because they're doing great things.
Absolutely. Rudy, thanks again, and we really appreciate you making time.
Anytime, my friend.